Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live event. I'm Felix, Finance and Strategy Director at MATERI'ACT, and together we will explore how sustainable materials can reshape the future of mobility. For those who may not be aware, MATERI'ACT was established by FORVIA 2 years ago as a dedicated subsidiary. Its purpose: to explore, to develop, to produce, and to sell cutting-edge materials and sustainable solutions for the automotive industry and beyond. Today's event is part of FORVIA's Blue Effect program, a program accelerating the industry's sustainable transformation through collaboration and employee empowerment. The idea is simple. Small changes can have big impact, a bit like the butterfly effect, and everyone has a role to play in it. MATERI'ACT, for that, is a perfect example. Now, I'd like to introduce you our panelists today. Elise Moreau, you are president of MATERI'ACT, and you have a strong background in building fantastic relationships with customers, and you are a sustainable enthusiast and very happy to be part of an industry and to drive the change towards sustainability in that industry. Benoît Perrault, good afternoon. You are solid waste, recycling and recovering market and clients director at Veolia. You have pioneered the Plastiloop adventure, and you pretty much have recycled more than the sum of all of us in this room. Xavier Payou, you are director for the product line Compounds at MATERI'ACT, and you are one of MATERI'ACT's pioneers. And on the line, we have Leo Mazurek, and there's a reason for this. Leo, you are MATERI'ACT North American General Manager. You've worked extensively with the American OEMs, and you pretty much know everything about them. Today's discussion will last about 30-40 minutes, and at the end of the discussion, we'll be more than happy to address some of the questions you have on LinkedIn been asked through our discussion through the chat. So Elise, my first question goes to you. Why was MATERI'ACT created in the first place?
So, as you told Felix, MATERI'ACT was created in 2022, so 2 years ago, because we knew that we have a big role to play in the industry decarbonization. I don't know if you are aware, but 20% of the global CO2 emissions are linked to transportation. And when you think about sustainable mobility, I'm sure most of the people will think about electric cars. But it's not all about powertrain. We have also a big role to play in the interior of the automotive, in the material which are used to produce the automotive. And FORVIA, being a major supplier of automotive parts like center console, dashboard, like decoration part or seats, is heavily relying to plastic. And we have understood that if we succeed to change the plastic, we can create a big cut down on our carbon footprint strategy.
And so what does MATERI'ACT team really work on?
So first of all, MATERI'ACT team is around 100 people, located both in Lyon in France, in North America also, and we have as well a team in China. We are working to take the everyday waste that we are creating and throwing in our recycle bin and to transform it into a kind of new product, like for automotive, the dashboard and things like this. And it's really amazing that we can transform a kind of shampoo bottle or a kind of detergent container into something completely different. And that's why we are here today.
And so, do you have different product lines within MATERI'ACT?
Yes, we have 2 product lines. So the first one is the Compounds. So Compounds is basically how we create some formulas or recipe to create this plastic that we are using based on biofibers or based on recycled material. This is the first product line we have, and we have here today Xavier representing this product line. We have another product line which is surface material. So surface material is how to replace the surface that we have in the automotive, like leather or leather-like surfaces, with something which use biofiber again or recycled material.
So you said earlier that MATERI'ACT was created 2 years ago. Is that everything we're bringing, 2 years of experience?
No. 2 years ago, we created MATERI'ACT, but we had already a legacy. I mean, it's almost 10 years ago. We have built a joint venture, which is called APM, which has been built between Forestia and a cooperative, agricultural cooperative in France, which is called Interval. And we are using hemp fibers in our plastic in order to create a new material, which is with less weight than what we use usually with glass fibers also. So at this time, when we have created this GV, the target was to reduce the weight of the components, because at that time it was really the challenge. Now we are building on this legacy, but we enhance completely the scope with what we call the design for scope 3 approach, and with a focus on the complete emission that we will create.
So you've used the term design for scope 3. I don't know if our LinkedIn audience knows what it means. Would maybe someone want to explain what it is? Maybe you, Xavier?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. So design for scope 3, you have scope 3. So just to very shortly, scope 3 is about all indirect emissions which are released during the manufacturing of the goods being upstream. So when a supplier manufactures a raw material, those emissions are counted as scope 3. And then downstream, when a material is used for a part, then during the usage of the car, it's counted as a scope 3 emission for us, and then for the customer as a scope 1 and 2. When we associate with design for scope 3, it's really the ability for MATERI'ACT to develop materials that can decrease and significantly reduce the carbon footprint of its materials, so enabling customers to also benefit from these features. It goes, I can give you a few examples. Weight reduction will contribute to that, and the use of recycled feedstock of biomass to achieve this reduction. It is in support of the FORVIA ambition, net zero ambitions, which are minus 45 carbon footprint reduction by 2030. It's 5 years ago, so some may say it's far away. In fact, when you think of automotive development, it's now. So the materials that we are developing today are being implemented for cars that will be on the road in 2030.
And I understand that this design for scope 3 is something that was launched as part of the CES last year, and that we're building with FORVIA and MATERI'ACT together to actually push it to our
It was announced at that time in 2024, and then it's really the combination and the integration of materials and parts to benefit the OEMs.
So now coming back maybe to MATERI'ACT, Elise, you have explained that, well, what we are doing is we take the waste from our recycled bins and we turn it into high-performance plastic that eventually will make it through our cars' interiors, the dashboards, the interiors of the doors, the center consoles. All of that requires recycling. And I guess, Benoit, you are the recycling expert. Can you tell us how this journey is happening?
Yes, of course, with great pleasure. Let's say first, the approach of recycling has been changing a lot in the last year. Back in the 20th century, let's say recycling was based on opportunities. I have a waste, what can I do to get some benefits, some use of it again? I am looking for a material, a feedstock, how can I source it cheap? That's not the case anymore. With a circular economy in mind, we are now entering a new area, an era of circularity by purpose. How is it done? How is it working? First, we work closely with our customers, with the end clients, to understand and define and qualify their needs. Is it technical specification, aesthetic and aspect, material durability, and so on and so on. Then the key expertise is coming from the expertise of formulation. Mm-hmm. How do we combine different streams and kind of waste to achieve this challenge that our clients has asked us to resolve? So in that, we also have to validate, and being with a partner like Forvia is helping a lot to have a fair view of the performance of those materials and to guarantee it over the time. Then it comes with Veolia's core business that everybody knows, waste management, being operator over many of the steps of the value chain for a wide variety of range of different types of waste is a key success factor to be able to build those formulation and those compounds and be able to deliver it on the long term. And then, of course, from sourcing to delivering a product, you need the process, the assets, the technologies, you need the quality management and so on to be able to do it consistently for the clients. So that's the fourth pillar. One, specification. Second, formulation. Third, sourcing, and then processing. 4 pillars for circularity by purpose. And I think circularity by purpose is really in the DNA of Plastiloop, of course, but it is a DNA that we share with our partner, MATERI'ACT. It is definitely to deliver what our clients really need on the long term. And we have demonstrated that it was successful to partner through the formulation and the production of the first compounds for interior parts of the high quality one that we are delivering to our clients. And a lot of more projects are ongoing with both our R&D teams to increase our portfolio, combining the expertise of both teams. So yes, to answer your first question, sorry, I've been a bit long. Yes, their audience, your yellow bin, but also maybe your outdated vacuum cleaner or parts from your old car can end up, I would say, can rebirth in the dashboard of your new iconic car that you want to buy, if you buy the good one, of course, with recycled material. Well, just as a conclusion, keep in mind, really, the journey from bin to car is a complex, demanding, and highly engineered process that requires expertise, but also commitment from all the stakeholders over the value chain.
And so you rightly explained now that there's a wide range of inputs that need to be used. Mm-hmm. You spoke about vacuum cleaners, you spoke about detergent ELEs, you spoke also about end-of-life vehicles. Yes. And nevertheless, the output, the end product, always needs to be exactly the same with the specification of the industry. True. And I'm assuming that the plastic that we have in France are not the same that we have in North America than the ones that we have in Asia. So in this, how do we manage the wide range of variables to always secure exactly the same output? Maybe for you, Xavier.
Yeah, so Benoit explained it, touched on this point in the end. What natural fibers and recycled feedstock have in common is the fact that they are variable. And our challenge together is to make a variable input become a stable output for the performance, for the use that we all have every day. So this is really where collaboration comes in. This is the magic of the collaboration, I would say, where MATERI'ACT brings this automotive understanding, the automotive industry understanding, and with the ability to formulate those, in other words, put the recipe together to make sure that the material will fit the application. Traditionally, it's more a material push. Here, we're also trying to create a momentum where the material is rightly designed for a given application. And obviously, with our partners, having the ability to then put that, make it a reality at industrial scale in an affordable way.
So thank you very much. So we've pretty much understood in this first section how the value chain works, from sourcing the feedstock to formulating it. You explained it, Xavier, so that it ends up in the car dashboard. Let's watch a quick video that puts that into motion. So shifting gears a bit, how does all of this expertise and innovation help us tap into and succeed in other markets, like typically the American one? Leo, would you want to take this one?
Yeah, thank you, Felix. So we take that expertise and that innovation, and here in the U.S., it's the proven model that we've seen from our European teams. We've adapted it to our local needs here, starting in Dallas, Texas. There we partnered with PCR to create a joint venture, MATERI'ACT Dallas. That partnership ensures that we have a steady supply of recycled waste materials available for the many compounded products in our portfolio. The local sourcing is key for us. It ensures that we get the supply chain quality we need while also reducing our transportation emissions, and that helps to keep our carbon footprint low. Our MATERI'ACT teams here in North America, they come with deep automotive expertise. They have history and experience in crafting custom recipes or formulations that suit our local market very well. For example, last year in 24, we successfully launched our hemp-filled bioplastic naphthalene for a U.S. EV customer here. That was a first in North America for us. And within our joint venture in MATERI'ACT Dallas, we supply recycled plastic compounds to several non-automotive customers. And doing so, we help assist to achieve their own emission reduction goals that they have for their own net zero plans. So by producing these high-performance formulations close to our customers, we create a more secure supply chain, and we're not only driving value through sustainability and cost, but also mitigation, risk mitigation and supply. We know exactly where our raw materials are coming from. It allows us to maintain a reliable, high-quality stream of inputs within our joint venture operation for our high-quality output compounded materials. This approach doesn't just provide stability, but it's setting us up for scale. Once we've mastered this American market, our plan is to expand into other regions, such as Asia, taking the same locally driven model for local feedstock sourcing and recipe formulation.
So MATERI'ACT has a game changer local for a global approach, securing the supply chain and reducing innovation. But zooming out a bit, Xavier, how does this approach align with your commitment to deliver high quality, innovative, high performance materials that meet the very, very strict standards of the automotive industry?
Yeah, indeed. Today there is absolutely no compromise from the customers on the quality. We must meet their requirements. No compromise on the aesthetics. No compromise on the safety features, obviously. No compromise on the durability of the goods. So a car that you buy today will have its end of life in 20 years, and that there is no turning point on that. So whether we deal with structural applications where you have to withstand a high load, or whether we deal with visible, with high aesthetics applications, the quality requirements are the same. Our challenge is that the customers want the same product everywhere in the world, and our expertise and our collaboration is really to make that possible locally, and again, in an affordable way, also to avoid, in a way, further drawbacks on the environmental footprint with unnecessary supply chain.
So there's a local play. We spoke about Veolia. So there's also collaboration, which is very important.
Indeed, for sure. By collaborating with key players over the value chain, and especially MATERI'ACT, I can say we gain our understanding of the real needs of the clients, of the non-compromise, no compromise on quality and so on that you mentioned, Xavier. And that's definitely helping us to rapidly and robustly develop and qualify the different materials that are needed. Mm-hmm. I think we can say that our partnership with MATERI'ACT is, in a way, the perfect fit that enable us to boost our creativity on both sides, to debottleneck technical challenges together, and in the end to grow the implementation, the industrial implementation of circular polymers for the automotive industry. I would add the goal is not just to meet immediately some solutions. The idea and the challenge is to build and grow on short term, on mid term, on long term, the value chain, the supply chain that is needed by the industry. And I can say we have to both address quality topics and environmental benefits for the Scope 3, as you mentioned, for the planet and so on. Starting now is really crucial. Starting now with committed OEMs is the key success factor for being able, in a few years, to deliver on time, on quality, the massive volume that they will need to be compliant with the regulations that are coming and that are needed for the planet and for our children. At the end of the day, it's all about, I would say, bridging in a scarce environment, industrial footprint, innovation, industrial capabilities and expertise, and sustainability to deliver the material that the OEM can trust and that to the benefit of the planet. I always say in circular economy, we have to think on the long term, no other alternative. Build on partnership, build on long-term relationship. And to sum up, that's exactly what we call at Veolia a kind of motto, be your partner for the ecological transformation.
You've mentioned 2-3 words that I'd like to react on. One, you said now. Mm-hmm. You mentioned regulation, mm-hmm. and you also mentioned customers. Yeah. And we have drawn a good understanding of what is the upstream of the value chain. Maybe if we take a step back and we look at the environment and the downstream of the value chain, you also use the word collaboration. Could you maybe tell us how the market is reacting? Is the regulation helping? Is there a need for regulation?
So regulation we have. There is a Europe end-of-life vehicle regulation. For us, it's very important that we accelerate on this topic, and that's why in December, MATERI'ACT, together with Forvia, has joined a group of stakeholders requesting the European lawmakers to push for this and to keep the ambitious goal to reach 25% of recycled material into the plastic in 2030. So we are really pushing in this direction, and we think it's mandatory for the planet first, and also considering everything that we have discussed before. Then regarding the market, there is a market. Even if the regulation is perhaps not at this level today, there is a big market, and our customers are pushing for this. just as example, today we have 10 million of vehicles produced with MATERI'ACT solution on the road. And I think it shows that we are already having a big world impact. We can make better, for sure. So for us, we will do it thanks to three things. The first one is, as we said, we need to keep this high quality, this high performance material. These are mandatory for the future, and we focus really on this. The second topic is that we need to be cost affordable. We have really the consciousness that we cannot increase the price of the product to introduce this material. So it's a key focus for us. And to do this, we use the technology for sure. We use the efficiency. We have mentioned also the footprint, the local for global approach that help us to reach the cost targets that we have. And last but not least, we are not just doing the same that we had in the past with new plastics. This is not the target. We are already creating a new story, a new product, a new sensation. I take two examples. So we have discussed of the partnership with Veolia, but now I will switch to other partnership. We have a partnership with Ananas Anam, which is a JV we have to build, based on pineapple fibers, a new surface material which looks like leather, but it's brand new surface material, which is really something that the customer can feel, can touch, which is different. I mean, we are creating something completely new that doesn't exist on the market. Another example is the partnership we have with Plastic Odyssey. So we have also a partnership with them, which is that we are using ocean-bound plastics together with oyster shell in new plastics, and we are creating something which is really new as a plastic that we never had also on the market, and we can introduce it in our door panels. So as you can see, it's not just only having products that use recycled or vegetal fibers, it's also creating new products that we never had on the market and that we can propose to our customer.
And what you said is that not only is it plastic for parts that are probably invisible to the audience on LinkedIn, to the end consumer, but we're creating a concept about using recycled content into visible parts, into visible surface materials, and it becomes something that actually the customers are adamant about, making sure that, yes, the plastic that they have in their car is actually based off recycled content.
Okay.
So, well, thank you very much for sharing all of those insights. It's really exciting to see how MATERI'ACT is playing a role in driving sustainable materials shift into the mobility industry and beyond, of course, with other markets like packaging and whatnot. And we've proven through our discussion that those materials, that they can be, one, good for the planet, two, that they definitely meet industry's standard and high specs, three, you mentioned it at length, both, and Leo as well, that they must be affordable for the OEMs, and last but not least, that they are a desirable product that can be seen and visible by the end consumer. So thank you very much for that. Now we'll watch a last video that actually showcases the visible aspect of those materials. So we'll now turn on to the questions that we have received on the LinkedIn chat, and thank you very much for submitting those. The first question probably goes to you, Xavier, is about the carbon footprints of those new materials. Is the carbon footprint of these new materials already assessed to the reality of a company? And what's the LCA assessment of those products?
Yeah, so obviously the carbon footprint, when we talk about sustainable materials, it is deeply connected with the carbon footprint, with the product carbon footprint. Today, our ambition is to make sure that what we develop brings a decrease of at least 20% versus what we call industry standards, versus the incumbent material that you find every day. When we look at the solutions that we have been developing over the last 10 years, and more specifically now based on recycled feedstock over the last 2 years, we already reached more than 35% carbon footprint reduction on those solutions. So we aim at going further. We have an example today on the road, which is the Renault E-Tech, where we use a product which combines natural fibers and recycled feedstock, where we can reach up to 90% carbon footprint reduction. So again, it's real, it's tangible, and that's happening as we speak.
Okay, thank you, Xavier. The second question is probably for you, Elise. We've had a discussion which was very much North American and European centric with Leo, with Benoit. What about the Asian trend? Is there an expectation for sustainable materials over there as well?
I will say that in terms of regulation, of course it's different, but in automotive market it's the same. You know that the Chinese OEM are also selling outside of Asia, so they are respecting the same constraints, and they are willing to switch to sustainable material like all OEM. So there is no difference today in the market, in the automotive market. So we have a trend in Asia as well.
Okay. The next question, and you started to mention about how those high qualitative plastic had to meet specs in terms of security, about lasting for 30 years car average use. There's a question that comes back, and maybe it's for you, Benoit, is what about the smell? How do we address that?
Good question, which is not a specific question for automotive industry, but for several applications. So we have this topic to be addressed. There are some specific treatment to reduce smell after the recycling or during the recycling, and a lot of innovation is ongoing on that topic. All the question is, what is the target? As you said, Elise, we never forget that to be on the market, we need to be affordable. Okay, so that's always a challenge of price and processing. Mm-hmm. But definitely things are available on the market, and we have some treatment capacities in some of our plants to be able to deodorize.
And for maybe specifically for the cars, do we have specific tests that have to be done, Xavier?
Yeah, well, a car obviously is composed of a number of parts, and depending on where those parts are located in the car, they have different requirements. Maybe a meaningful example is that on an instrument panel, so the dashboard, which is in front of you when you drive, you have a lower part, lower location, and then a higher part. So if I take and they are not exposed the same way. If you take what we call a top cover, it will have to withstand sun exposure. It will have to withstand heat exposure. It will be very cold in some countries, very hot in others. So it has to withstand and to behave the same, whatever the temperature is. It has to withstand safety impact. So if you have an airbag deployment, you want to make sure that there is no harm to the passenger. So and then the last one is also the aesthetics. When it lasts for 20 years, you want to make sure that what you have as a dark gray remains a dark gray and does not become a whitish, smoky color. So those requirements exist, and there is no objective of compromising on it.
And Elise, you've mentioned the example of oysters. We spoke about hemp with APM, typically. So one of the questions is, how does it look inside the car? Can we actually see the difference? Do we want to see that difference?
Yes, there is a requirement on the market to see it. So I mentioned the oyster shell, and it's clearly something which brings, I don't know the word in English, sorry, but some paillettes.
Sparkles.
So yeah, stars. So I mean, it's really bringing something which is different. And there is a need for this, and we can be really creative. We have some compounds, and Xavier can comment, but we have developed some grades which are called Nafi Vision, which are really focused on giving a new visible impact. And it's based on, as you said, vegetal fibers, oyster. We can use almost everything to make it visible, and there is a willingness to see now these things.
Yeah, if I may,
yeah,
Felix, the Naphthalene Vision and in fact all those aesthetics material, it also triggers a new dialogue with the designers, because to really address the point, there is no aspect in a car which is not approved and specified with the OEM. So we also have the opportunity with those new materials to make proposals on things. A car like 20 years ago was always very dark and very black. Now there is also a desire from the consumers to understand the story of the materials, where it comes from, what it went through, what the origin is, and then to be able to convey this message through the car itself to make it more appealing without compromising on the real performance. So there is there always must be a connection between what we want to showcase, the fiber, specific oyster effect, and its impact in terms of environment. And that's what we really strive for.
There's another question, which is application beyond automotive. And maybe this question goes to you, Leo, because you've mentioned how you've started the storyline in the US with non-automotive market. So is there an ambition to keep on exploring non-automotive market?
Certainly. The ambition's there. The market is vast, and the specifications within that market also they vary in comparison to the automotive market that we have. But the consumer demand still remains. You were just talking about the visible sustainability or the visible green through our Naphthalene Vision. There are certain customers that within the consumer market currently have that in their plastics today because it enhances the consumer experience. They're able to market their product in a more sustainable way and not just have it as the standard black plastic that's been around for years. So the answer is yes. We want to keep on going in the different consumer markets outside of automotive here in North America and beyond.
There's a question about securing somehow the feedstock, how we can have repeatable volumes and the availability of those volumes within the acceptable specification of the brands. Who wants to take this one? Benoit?
Maybe I can. Up to you, no problem. So yes, that's true. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. I would say not more to keep the quality constant, but to be able to secure the volumes. I mentioned scarcity previously. Definitely, the world tomorrow will be a world where we will have to deal with scarcity, address scarcity, and secure our core activity in this context. So yes, of course, address the variability of quality of the feedstock depending on the season and so on. We know how to do it. We've done that since years. So and it's a technical topic. It's something we can do, but securing the volumes on the long run, again, long run, long term. It's one of my motto. Requires long-term partnership. A steady growth of the volumes. If we wait last moment to order big volumes, they will not be there for sure. It takes so much time to build a filière, to build a plant, and so few time to kill it. So that's a bit the heart of the recycler that is getting out here. But yeah, it's a key challenge for long-term securement of the feedstocks. Yeah.
And I guess connected to that question is a question more specifically on the product is, what's the percentage of recycled content that we can envision in those compounds? Can we go up to 100% recycled content, or do we have limitation to be compliant with OEM specification? Maybe for you, Xavier.
So that's a very interesting question because, of course, when we talk to OEMs, when we talk to customers, they want to have the perfect solution from day one. Cheap, super sustainable, etc. We see, and through the collaboration we have, is that we can really stretch the limit already. I was mentioning our 20% goal. We are already at 35% carbon footprint, which corresponds more or less to 30 to 40% recycled content. Okay, that's the connection. Our ambition is to replace 100% of the plastic with virgin plastic, so made out of fossil resources, with recycled content. That's an ambition that we have for the next, by 2030. So yes, we think it's definitely possible. It will come with the ability of the value chain to also invest in its processing capacities, which is really then where the regulation can help to drive funds in that area. So ultimately, for us, the perfect compound, the perfect material, is a material which uses 100% mechanical recycling combined with natural resources that can also lower carbon footprint, and to have a carbon footprint which is very close to zero in the end.
Okay, very clear. And so we spoke about integrating the recycled content, creating a new product based off the recycled content. Can that product ultimately be recycled again after we dismantle the vehicle? Can we regrind them easily?
Yes. As part, I was talking a bit earlier about sustainable materials. I alluded on one aspect, which is the carbon footprint reduction. The other aspect is obviously it doesn't harm the environment, and one of the criteria is circularity. So it has to be recyclable, and all the materials we develop are indeed recyclable, so they can be collected at the end of the life of the good, the car in 20 years, or another application in our daily life, and then it can be reintegrated in the value chain and reprocessed to then do a new product, which may end up in the automotive or in another application. And this ability to also direct new sources to applications which go into the right engineering is also a key attribute of developing new materials.
So not only do we recycle, but we make it recyclable
yes,
forever.
And that's again a no compromise for us.
Excellent. So
we shall start by that.
Absolutely.
Because no recyclability means no recycled content. For
Exactly.
sure. That's really why I always say it's a commitment over the full value chain, and we can provide some advice on the recyclability over all the value chain. It's done for all other or several other activities, and that's really critical.
And so I think it's the perfect word to actually end this discussion. We're closing the loop through what we are doing, and we are also ending here with our discussion. Thank you very much to you, Elise, Benoit, Xavier, Leo, who participated in this discussion, and thank you very much to our LinkedIn audience for your questions and insightful presence to explain to you how MATERI'ACT is making a change in sustainable materials in the automotive industry and others. Thank you very much.